The same Israeli army that slaughtered 3 of its own people as they were pleading for help in Gaza have decided to write the names of American citizens who are critical of its practices on the very bombs that they drop on civilians in the Gaza Strip. So this was shared on X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you can't see the names clearly, I can tell you which names are included. You see the name of MMA fighter Jake Shields on there, scholar and YouTuber Mohammed Hijab, journalist and academic researcher Suleiman Ahmed, Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus, and yes, you also see Cenk Uygur's name right there on the right-hand side at the very top. And Cenk, I mean, look, I'm curious how you feel seeing your name on. I mean, obviously the IDF has taken notice of your commentary, the fact that you have the audacity to be critical of their practices, critical of their slaughter, and yes, slaughter of thousands of children, little kids. You've been critical of that. They don't like it. So they write your name on the bomb that they're going to drop. A bomb that's been supplied by our government, by the way, using U.S. taxpayer money.
Yeah. Going
toward a country that's incredibly wealthy and can provide health care to every single one of its Israeli citizens, okay? Interesting how they feel entitled to that help as they write the names of American citizens on those bombs. Sorry, go ahead.
So, okay, so first of all, those bombs are going to murder Palestinian civilians. America should not be sending one more bomb to Israel. Their leader, Netanyahu, has openly said that he's proud that he prevented a Palestinian state and will keep doing so going forward. So he is not for peace. He is for endless war. He has committed more war crimes, about 20 times the war crimes that Hamas has. He is a terrorist thug who revels in murdering Palestinian civilians. And, oh my God, have I hurt your feelings by pointing out things that are indisputably true? Well, good. I'm going to tell the whole world all of your war crimes. And in the past, it was easy to muzzle American media. And all we would hear here in America, as the rest of the world heard reality, we would hear Israeli propaganda. Oh, Israel has a right to defend itself. That's why they had to kill 20 times the civilians that Hamas did. Hamas is terrible, awful terrorists for killing civilians. Well, we all agree. Israel, when they kill civilians, they're angels. Now, they butcher 20 times the civilians. When it comes to kids, it's way worse. Israel has killed about 300 times the number of kids Hamas killed. Hamas killed 36 kids on October 7th. Our heart broke for them, for those kids. Now, Israel has killed 9,000 kids. 9,000 kids with those bombs. And guys, if you're an American, you paid for that. And now Joe Biden is saying, let's give them 14 billion more. For what? Does it look like they don't have enough money to murder Palestinians? No, they've already murdered 19,000 Palestinians. There's a lot more to come. They say there's some Hamas fighters in there. They can't prove how many Hamas fighters, but everyone agrees. Even the IDF says, yes, the overwhelming majority of those are civilians. They're dropping gigantic unguided missiles into the middle of residential areas. Now, 90% of Gazans are homeless. Their houses have been destroyed. The whole place has been leveled by the terrorist Netanyahu. So you want to write my name on a bomb that you used to murder children? Well, it doesn't bother me, okay? I don't care about my name. I care about the bomb. 2/3 of Americans say ceasefire. For God's sake, stop murdering their children. Stop it. But our politicians are so incredibly corrupt. They say, no, whatever Israel says, we will beg them. How can we help you to murder more kids? How can I help you, Joe Biden says. And yes, it is terrorism when you murder 9,000 children. Don't tell me that you have the most incompetent army in the world. Oh, golly gee, we can't drop bombs right at all. We just happen to murder 20 times the people that Hamas did, and it was all an accident, and they were collateral damage. Well, no one believes you.
Let's talk about those bombs, just briefly. Let's talk about those bombs. Because the U.S. government does provide the IDF all the weapons that they could possibly want, including precision-guided munitions. But according to a recent report by CNN, close to half of the bombs they're using are not precision-guided munitions. There are different types of bombs that actually end up causing more collateral damage, as they like to say. So let's take a look at CNN's report, and I'll fill you in on more.
The U.S. intelligence community assesses that of the roughly 29,000 air-to-ground munitions that Israel has dropped on Gaza over the last 2+ months, about 40 to 45% of those munitions have been unguided, also known as dumb bombs. Now, that stands in contrast, of course, to precision-guided munitions, which are sometimes laser-guided, GPS-guided, typically are more accurate and precise than unguided munitions, which experts told us really pose an elevated risk to civilians and can be less precise. And when you're talking about such a densely populated area like Gaza is, you know, the difference between a target reaching, a munition reaching its target within a few feet can mean a matter of life and death in such a densely populated area.
So the U.S. claims that it doesn't know why Israel is still choosing to use so-called dumb bombs when we're giving them precision-guided munitions. Now, you can speculate as to why they've chosen to use the dumb bombs that cause much more damage, kill far more civilians. And we've certainly talked about why we think that's the case. But I should also note that it's not conducive to keeping IDF soldiers alive when you're using so-called dumb bombs. In fact, at least 105 Israeli soldiers have died since the military began ground operations in Gaza. And that's according to an IDF spokesperson. But get a load of this. At least 20 of those deaths were caused by accidents, they say. Accidents. Of those 20 deaths, 13 were caused by friendly fire or internal fire from the military's own troops. 6 were caused by other accidents related to weaponry, machinery, trampling, they said. At least 1 death was caused by firing irregularities. I love all the euphemisms used here. They're completely out of control. Okay, not only are they killing literally thousands of civilians in Gaza, they're also killing their own members of the military. They just gunned down 3 Israeli hostages over the weekend. Out of control. And they think it's a big gotcha. They think it's like a big, like, to write someone's name or a bunch of names of Americans on those bombs. Americans who are sober enough, mentally sober enough to see the situation for what it really is. You guys are killing your own. Absolute incompetent fools and absolutely evil.
Yeah. So some presidents have had enemies list, like Nixon famously had an enemies list. And we were covering George W. Bush's enemies list a long time ago on the show. And I was kidding around about how I'm mad I didn't make the list. Well, apparently I made a list here. And now it's a very, very dangerous list because American journalists who Israel doesn't like sometimes get murdered, like Shireen Abu Akleh. And now I've lost count of the number of journalists they've murdered in Gaza, but at last I checked, it was 68. So I think Hamas killed 3 reporters. Again, I'd have to double check those numbers. And Israel, as usual, said, oh, you think that's bad? We'll kill 20 times as much. And we don't want the news getting out, but we're a democracy. We're an ally of America. We're inflaming 1.6 billion Muslims and getting them to despise America for all the Muslim children that are being butchered with our money. But we're an ally. We're an ally. Oh, we keep 5 million Palestinian prisoners and murder them anytime we like, but we're a democracy. Are you? No, you're not. So you got me on an enemies list. I understand the danger involved in being on IDF's journalist enemies list, but I'm very proud of it. I would have been proud if the Germans had written my name on their bombs because they hated me so much. Good. During World War II. Yes, I said it. And as they murder 19,000 civilians, 9,000 children, if I'm at the top of their list of people that they hate for saying the truth about their war crimes, then I'm incredibly proud.
In just over